everybody, and welcome to Girlfriend Therapy Session with Dee. I am your host, Dee Bryant, and today I must say I am so honored and humbled to have my dear friend, my Betsy from high school, here with me today. And let me tell you a little bit about her. She is an evangelist, an ordained minister. She's a chaplain, a poet, an author of her own poetry entitled No Ordinary Day, and she is the founder of Dana Eye Care Foundation. It is a nonprofit organization that provides food, clothing, and shelter for children and their families globally around the world. And so I have the honor and pleasure in welcoming my girl
And
Dana
it's
to the
an
show.
it's an honor and pleasure for me. We go back so far,
I know.
back to high school. But
Yes,
as I told you earlier, it's a pleasure. It's a blessing to know people from high school, and like we were saying earlier, lost touch, and then
yes,
can get back together
yes,
and always say love doesn't die, it multiplies.
yes, yes. I like that. I
So
like that.
it doesn't die. If it's not, listen, if it's not true love, it'll die. But
Yeah,
true love doesn't die, it multiplies.
it multiplies. I
Mm-hmm.
like that. That
Mm-hmm.
sounds very catchy.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Okay, well, let's dive in. Um, so when you look over your life, um, when did you first recognize that God has made a special assignment for you?
um, I can't pinpoint like one specific time. I guess there have been several things that
Mm-hmm.
have happened in my life.
Mm-hmm.
But I can go back to being about 5 years old.
Oh, wow.
And I remember my aunt used to come and get me every weekend. She would come and get me. Her and her husband were school teachers. And so every weekend on Friday, my mom would pack my bag, and it will always seem like they took a long time to come and get me. So every now and then I would tell my mom, okay, I know what to do. Let me go out on the porch and call them and they will come. So I would go out on the porch and like with everything in me, I would scream my aunt's name. I was like, come on. And she would come driving down the street. So it would happen so much. Whenever they were late picking me up, I would say, okay, let me just go outside and call, you know, I would go out on the porch and just scream their name really, really loud. And they would, and say, I would like say, come, I want you to come. And they would come down the street. So one particular time, my mom said, you cannot just think that you can go on a porch and call them and they're going to come. And so I said, why not? And I said, they come when I call. And so she said, no. She was like, you cannot do that. That's not making them come. It's just so happens
Happens that they're
that they
coming.
come. She
Right.
was like, they don't come because you're calling. I said, yes, they do. I said, and we argued about it. I said, yes, they do. And my mom,
At
she
five?
could not convince me
At 5 years
at
old?
5 years old. She could not convince me. And so one time, my aunt was coming over. It might have been that same day that we were going back and forth about it. She said, when she came to pick me up, she was like, will you tell her that she can't call you and you come every time? And my aunt just laughed and said, no, I am not telling her that. She said, no, I am not telling her that. And me and her laughed and went on out the door. But when I look back over my life, I think that was the first time that I exercised faith.
Mm. That's an
And
interesting point.
no matter what, my mother could not convince me, because every time I knew something inside of me knew that if um I didn't know about prayer and I didn't know about God, but I wanted them to come, and I just would call their name with everything in me. And sure enough, they would come every time. And there
That's
was
amazing.
faith, and we all have a degree of faith. So I just feel like um it's probably like, as far as like being a person of strong faith, I think it's sort of innate, or sort of part of my personality or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. But from a young age, like, that's what I can remember. And I did not know anything about the Lord. I wasn't going to church or anything like that. So
Right.
yeah. And then I feel like as time went on, like, little things happened um, that
Mm-hmm.
drew me, I want to say, drew me to the Lord, because I feel like the Lord drew me to Him. And then once I put my faith and trust in Him, just through my walk with the Lord, um, He just led me to wherever it is that I've been going on this journey.
Yes, yes. And
Yeah,
and and it seems like, it's been a wonderful journey for
it
you.
has. It has. It's been hard.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of struggles. It's been
Yeah.
heartaches, heartbreaks, disappointments. Um, but in terms of um, the things that God has allowed me to accomplish and the joy that I have, I would say it's worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that pretty much talks about your upbringing as well, right?
Mhm.
Because that was my next question. But I think you've already covered all of that. So, okay, so what drew you in the path of becoming a chaplain? How did that come about?
um, I would say through becoming a Christian, giving my life to Christ, joining a church. At some point, um, and I guess I would have to say my walk with Christ is not isn't typical at all. So I found the Lord quite by accident.
For to be the chaplain in the
well,
hospital?
I'm saying I found the Lord
Lord, Lord,
before
Lord,
I became a
the
chaplain.
chaplain.
I found the Lord quite by accident. I lived
Did you
next door
say?
to a young lady who she was a Christian, and she was reading her Bible, and we it was a snowy day, and my daughter wanted to go out, and I lived next door to a young lady who had a son who was the same age. So I took the kids outside. So his mother, I didn't really know her, so his mom, she was sitting there reading her Bible. And so she asked me, she was like, do you are you a Christian? I was like, no. She was like, oh, you're not? She was like, oh, well, I know Jesus, I know the Lord, I talk to him every day. And she's just ministering to me just like I'm talking to you. And I was like, wow. And then I'm looking at her like, I don't know anybody that reads the Bible. I don't know anybody probably that has a Bible. So I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So the next day, we lived next door. So the next day, and I had told her I didn't have a Bible. She asked me if I had a Bible. I said no. So the next day, she had asked me if I wanted a Bible. So I said, yeah, I want a Bible, because I was curious at this point, what's in it? Like, so
Now, how old were you when
I
you?
was 22.
Oh,
I
okay.
was 22. And so she called a pastor the next day, and the pastor said, just walk over to the church. I'll, give her a Bible. And so I was like,
That gives me
okay.
chills. Oh,
So she was like, my pastor wants to give you a Bible. Do you want to walk over to the church? I said, sure. So we walked over to the church, and he like he must have obviously knew I never had a Bible. So he talked to me, he ministered to me. I gave my life to Christ. He gave me the Bible. And I say that was the one of the very best, well, it was the best day of my life. That was the best day of my life. Um, because to me, the Bible was something that was personally written for me. So
Mm.
I didn't have a church. That wasn't my church. I didn't go there. So I want to say it was about probably close to 10 years before I would ever really join a church or start going to a church.
Mm-hmm.
And so all I had was the Bible.
And
So
so
I was
during that
saved.
time, you
During
was
that time, I read so much of the Bible and I studied. I had reference materials. If I was sick, I would read everything about being sick. If I was broke, I would read everything about prosperity, praying to the Lord for increase or whatever. So I used the Bible really to get me by
wow.
younger, like in my younger years, and I
Mm-hmm.
just fell in love with the Bible. I love the Bible till to
There's a
this
lot of
day.
interesting stories in the
Oh, I
Bible too,
absolutely love the Bible.
like a
So
storybook.
it is,
It really
it
is.
really is, it's more drama than a little bit. But
Yeah.
so when I eventually I would settle in a church, um it was a little awkward because most of the people that were in the church grew up in the church. And here I was coming to the church fully grown, but I did not know like the politics of church, the church songs, the like I didn't know all
Wow.
of that. So it
Mm-hmm.
was those things I had to learn just by going. But
Right.
I remember one time my pastor telling me I would go to um, Wednesday night Bible study every Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Loved it because I love the Bible. And I remember one time he told me, he was like, you know what? He was like, I'm just so amazed somebody who didn't go to church that knows so much
Much
about
about
the
the
Bible.
Bible.
And it was kind of hard for me to find a church because I read so much in the Bible that if I went to a church and I wasn't hearing back what I read,
Read, right.
then it was like not confusing, but I was like I
Or
knew,
like they missed the mark.
yeah, like I had a foundation. My foundation is really in the Bible. So I love the word. If anybody's preaching and it ain't the word, I may not say anything, but I'm been taking a mental note.
Isn't that something? Wow.
But so once I got settled in the church, there was a point that I felt the Lord nudging me, like to learn more. So I went,
To learn more in the church.
like he would to prepare myself. I didn't know what he had for me, but I just kept feeling like, and I remember I went to my pastor. I said, I feel like the Lord is leading me to something, but I don't know what it is. And then I went to the mother of my church and I was like, I just don't understand. I feel like the Lord is leading me to do something, but I don't know what it is. And so she said, I have a school I want you to go to. And so then I went to it was called Full Gospel Assemblies. The name changed, it is now changed, but she told me to go there, enroll there, and it was a 3-year program. And it's amazing because during the 3 years God was preparing me, and before the end of the 3 years he um I knew I was supposed to be a chaplain. So I within those 3 years, I had retired from the state of Pennsylvania, and I the first thing I did was I fasted, and I was like, Lord, I gave you every area of my life except for my occupation. So what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? I retired from the state. I wasn't. I just felt like He wanted me to start a new path.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So as clear as day, I heard Him say chaplain. I didn't even know what a chaplain did, and I went and
Mm-hmm.
looked it up, and I was like, wow, this is me. This is, so then I was on the journey of being a chaplain. So what I tell my patients is, the patients that I see, I'm like, if I'm coming to you, it's because the Lord sent me, because I didn't even know what a chaplain was. But one thing that I know is, I know that God called me to be a chaplain because I heard it. And also, um, everybody that I've worked under, they've all told me that you were created to be a to be a chaplain. I don't know why, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Mm, that's fascinating,
Hmm.
Dana, because that leads me to my next question about how do you minister to families as they navigate through grief and loss? Because that's that's kind of like a heavy weight thing to do, but it takes a special person, and you're it. You're it.
Well, I feel like the Lord, He definitely called me to be a chaplain.
Mm-hmm.
So when He called me, I did not know like what the characteristics of being a chaplain was, but I believe that all of the life experiences that I had up to that point helped create inside of me. I feel like I'm a very compassionate person.
And that
So
you are.
I feel like all of me, how He created me, and the experiences, um, He made me to be a chaplain. And when it comes down to like dealing with heavy things and dealing with a loss, and it's never, I'm a hospice chaplain right now. I started off as a hospital chaplain, but as a hospice chaplain, I've done this for many years.
Wow.
It's never, death is never easy. And I tell everybody, nobody ever can, you can't, I don't care how many people, and I've seen so many people pass, I can't even count it, but it's never, ever, ever, it's always shocking. It's never not shocking.
Right.
It's never not sad. It's never not, even people who you see that they're suffering, you may even know they're Christians, and that, the Lord is going to take them. Still, it's sad. And and it's meant to be that way. And I'm not saying this to be cold or anything, and I'm not cold at all, but there's a God allowed death to come into the world as a punishment. Like, it's a sting of death. Death, it hurts us, but it's supposed to hurt us. And it's supposed to hurt us because it's not what we were supposed to go through. We were never supposed to experience the separation of a loved one.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, that's not what God created for us. And it's hurtful, and we all unfortunately have to experience it. But I say God didn't create us to, life isn't going to be a bed of roses, but He's going to put people and things in our path to make it easier for us.
Mm-hmm.
So we have
And that he
we have
does.
Jesus, we have the Holy Spirit, we have other Christians, we have ministries to be able to give us a word, and those things help us in this thing called life,
Mm-hmm.
until we
Mm-hmm.
can get to the better place.
Right. Right. Wow. Mm. Wow. This is just so touching and moving. You're gonna have me in tears before you're gonna have me in tears before this podcast is over, folks. I'm telling you. Um, so while you uplifting families, Dana, who's uplifting you?
The Lord.
I know that's right.
Let me tell
But
you.
who's
And
uplifting
I'm
you,
telling you,
Dana?
it's the Holy Spirit. It's the Lord. It's the Lord. It's the Lord. You know why? Because we all have to depend on Him. Because at the end of the day, everybody can let us down. At the end of the day,
Yes, people
it
will
is
let you
us.
down.
Everybody else should be complimentary to us in
Mm-hmm.
life. And if we're truly walking hand in hand with the Lord, he's all that we need. You know what I mean? And I feel like every day, I feel like the Lord pours into me every day by different people, by different circumstances, different
Right.
situations, by my family. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
but if I had to,
Almost like you're saying that the Lord will put people in your life for different reasons to guide you in whatever path you're going. You know, you ever hear this saying about, with sometimes the Lord would let you know who needs to be in your life and who doesn't. And the people that don't need to be in your life, you have to learn to let them go.
yes,
You ever heard of that?
yes,
Yeah.
and
So it's almost like
sometimes
what you
it's
said.
hard.
And yes, and sometimes it is hard.
Mm,
But the Lord will let you know when somebody doesn't need to be in your life.
yeah,
And you may not understand it, but you have to have faith in God, you know, because the Lord doesn't make any mistakes.
no, he doesn't.
So I get what you're saying here. I really do. But go ahead.
I forgot where we were.
Oh God, that's funny. That's okay though. It's okay because we on the couch having girlfriend conversation,
Mhm.
and that's what we do. And at our age, anyway, do we remember anything from one point to the next? No, but that's okay, sweetie. But let's see here. Okay, was there ever a moment when you're at someone's bedside, something that you would never forget?
Let me tell you, probably every other day, I'm like, oh, I'm going to be remembering this for the rest of my life. Like I have encountered so many experiences like that, and I remember I have three things to say that to that question. One, I remember when I first became a chaplain, I was training at a trauma hospital, and every day I would come home and I would wreck my brain. Like I was trying to remember everybody that I saw in that day because I wanted to go home and pray for them. But then I was frustrated myself because then I couldn't remember everybody's name. Who did I see? Okay, I'm gonna start writing it down. And then I would get so engrossed in my work that I wouldn't write it down. But then I tried to remember, because I wanted to pray for everybody that I saw. And God had to teach me that when I'm in the moment with people, like, I'm a vessel for the Lord. So speak what he has me to speak. Encourage people, whatever he gives me to give to people, pour it out to them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I learned to stop trying to remember everybody because it's just impossible and it was driving me crazy. But there are
Is
many,
it that many people,
it's so
Dana?
many things that happen that so many things that my eyes have seen that I've never even really talked about that are just, I remember I'll tell you two things. One was, and both of them happened at the hospital. One was a young lady on the news. I'm on my way to work, and there was a standoff between this man and his wife. And they were like arguing, or like he had her at knife point.
Oh my
Well,
God.
anyway, she ended up at our hospital. And I ended up being the chaplain that was called to go to the trauma bay. And so when I went into the trauma bay and they were working on her, I'm standing there, and so there's things that I have to do in the trauma bay, like try to gather information, different things that we have to do. But so I'm in the trauma bay, and she's stabbed all over her body,
Mm,
like, and they didn't think she would make it because she was stabbed in her neck as well. And I forget how many wounds, maybe 20 or 30 stab wounds.
mm,
And they were working on her so hard. And I really feel like I was in shock. Like I felt like I was in shock because I was looking at her. I was standing there looking at her, and I couldn't. I was just standing there looking at her, and one of the chaplains happened to walk past the trauma bay, and he was like, "Dana, Dana," and I turned around. He was like, "Are you all right?" And then we switched places because he could tell that
you wasn't okay,
I
and it was
wasn't okay.
affecting. It was
Yeah,
affecting you.
I was stunned. I was, and it was, she lived. Thank God. There's nobody in that room. There was nobody in that room that thought that she was going to survive. That's how bad it was. I can't even tell you how bad it was. It was terrible. Um, and the other thing was, a young lady came in. She had had an abortion at an abortion clinic.
Mm-hmm.
And so her and her boyfriend had came because she started bleeding out. And unfortunately, she didn't make it, and just blood was everywhere. The unfortunate part was the boyfriend had went out to get something to eat, thinking that they were going to work on her and she was going to be fine. So when he came back to the emergency department, she had passed away. When we had called her family to tell her mom that, she was gone, the mother was like, "No, that's not my daughter. I'm watching my daughter's children." And she went on vacation. So it just was, that
Mm.
was very, very
I think you're gonna need to pass me some
oh,
tissues.
I'm sorry.
Lord Jesus, help us. But
Yeah,
yeah, mm,
yeah. So
Dana, your work, the work that you do to
it's,
get people through. That's why I
yeah.
was asking you who's getting you
Yeah,
through.
it has
Who?
to be like, for me, it's, I know for a fact it's the Lord every day. Like he pours into me every day for me to be able to get up and go to work and continue to do the work that I do, and to be able to give people hope in a hopeless situation. Um,
Wow,
yeah,
wow, wow. That's really something. But the Lord guides you every day to go to work and do the work. And
and it's a
like I said,
blessing. Honestly, it's a it's a blessing. Like, it's for me to be able to, when I say, this is what I love. Like, this isn't a job to me. Like, being a chaplain isn't a job to me. It's what I love. It's what God created me to do. um
wow.
so it's not a job. It's not like drudgery or
Mm-hmm.
anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um it's I'm blessed that God chose me, as a vessel to be able to, do his work.
Okay. Well, we're going to talk about Dana's Eye Care Foundation. But before doing so, I have some statistics that I want to share. Okay. Now, we all know that hunger is one of the biggest silent crises in the world. 783 million people around the world do not have enough food to eat every day. And that's according to the World Food Program 2023. Every 10 seconds, a child dies from hunger related causes. 148 million children under the age of 5 are studied, meaning their bodies and brains are not developing correctly because they're not getting enough nutrition. 45 million children are suffering from severe wasting, which means they are dangerously underweight and at risk of death without intervention. Now, in Haiti, where Dana's Eye Care Foundation serves, nearly half the population is experiencing severe or emergency levels of hunger. And right here in the United States, 1 in 5 children live in a home that struggles to afford food, and that's according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, 2024. So I would say hunger is just not over there. Hunger is here. Hunger is everywhere. And hunger is everybody's problem, right?
Absolutely.
So let's talk about Dana's Eye Care Foundation. How did it come about and when was it established?
So I was doing for my local church. I was the head of the missionary department at my local church,
Mm-hmm.
and then I started participating in our state missionary department, and I had was doing work with them as well. So I learned about doing missionary work and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
and that really inspired me to um, love missionary work. Like my first mission trip, I just I was just amazed. You know what I mean? How much we have and how little other people have around the world, and to hear it or to read it, and then to see
See
it
it
is a different
is
story.
different, right?
So um, I love doing missionary work, and especially giving back to children. And so my a good friend of mine, he's saxophone player, and so
Oh,
we had done a concert with Byron Cage, and so after the concert, him and I were talking, and he was like, "You know what? You need to start your own foundation." He was like, "You need to your own nonprofit." He said, "You need to start your own nonprofit," because I wanted to stretch out. Like I wanted to. Sometimes, like doing church missionary work, you only work with those people who are affiliated with that church,
right,
or like if you're a Baptist, Southern Baptist, you're probably going to the Southern Baptist places all around the world. I wanted to whoever needed help, I wanted to help. You know what I
right.
mean? I didn't want to have those restrictions. Um, and so a good friend of mine, he was like, you should start your own nonprofit. And I was like, oh, absolutely not. I said, oh,
Oh, you didn't
absolutely
want to do that
no.
at
I
the
said,
time?
absolutely not. Absolutely not. But then I thought about it and I was like, you know what? I think he's absolutely right. And then I just worked on putting the foundation together. Hmm.
Wow. Wow. And sometimes it takes someone to tell you and to push you.
Yes.
And you may not, take it right then and there, but
Right.
after thinking about it,
Right.
because that's how this podcast came along for
Yeah.
me. Someone told me, "Oh, Dee, you should do it. You should do it." And I
Exactly.
was like, "Oh, I don't know."
Yeah.
So,
And
so I get what
and
you're
this and
saying.
this is why we need each other. This is why God connects us to people. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
we're connected with other people and you listened. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Right.
Like you heard that and you may not have said, "Oh yeah, right," at the moment,
Right.
but once you let it sink in,
And
you know what I
yes.
mean? So God
Yes.
has a chance to, you know,
Work on you.
right. Mhm.
Isn't that something?
Mhm.
Yeah. So I get what you're saying when you
Mhm.
said that someone told you
Yeah.
that you should have your own,
Yep.
and it's nothing like your own.
Yeah.
So, okay. So what steps do you take to prepare for a mission trip? What are the things,
Oh, a mission trip, and I love mission trips. I think everybody ought to go on a mission trip, at least one. Every single person needs to go to a third world country and do a mission trip because it
Oh.
it will it will change your perspective in life.
Mm.
So one of the things, well, of course, you have to know where you're going. You have to know who it is. So you have to know exactly where you're going, who you're visiting. We went to Ethiopia, and so I had been in contact for a whole year. The pastor in Ethiopia. So
Oh.
we were communicating back and forth for a whole year, just preparing for the trip, preparing for what we would
Wow.
do. We were going to visit so many churches. We were going to, give clothes and shoes, whatever it is that they needed.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes a lot of like back end work.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then you get your team together. You have to make sure everybody has passports, if they
Right.
have vaccines that they need. Um, and
Wow.
also get visas, whatever it is that you need. You have to
Mm-hmm.
do the travel arrangements. Um,
Oh wow.
yeah, and then
A lot
travel
of
arrangements. It's
preparation.
a lot of preparation.
Wow.
It's
I
a
I
lot of
had no
preparation.
idea.
Yeah,
I had
yeah.
no
And you
idea.
have to arrange for transportation, possibly if it's a foreign language, you need an interpreter. But a
Right.
lot of
Oh
times, like the
wow.
pastors, most of the time they'll arrange that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, Dana.
Mhm.
I had no idea.
Mhm. I love
Wow,
it.
this
But you
is
know what? I think everybody should do at least one. Mhm.
mm. And I saw the pictures of you and the children, and they looked like they was just loving you up in them pictures. They
But you
they
know
looked
what?
like they
They
were glad to see
they
you.
love, like, every place that I've been that there's been children, they just love.
And they look so
y-
adorable.
Yeah.
They look so
Mhm.
adorable.
Mhm.
Oh wow. Okay, so when you were talking about preparing your mission trip, you have a team of volunteers that go with you, or
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
does all that
And it's
play out?
not I personally don't have a big team, because you have to be very careful, for me, of who you take. And this is one thing that I learned when I was working with the church, doing missionary work with the church. Sometimes everybody may not have the same mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody may not, like, the thing about leading a mission trip. First of all, you're responsible for everybody else in another country.
Mm.
So, with
Wow,
that
isn't
in
that
mind,
something?
it's very, very serious. Like, you know what
Yes,
I mean? It's very serious.
I can
So,
only
you want to
imagine.
take serious minded people, people who have the same mission in mind,
Right.
people who spiritually, um, because the enemy will come in and want to try to disrupt things. So, people who are on one accord. I'd like a smaller missionary trip instead of like humongous missionary trips,
Yeah.
just because you can move around a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
But also for the fact that, again, you want to be on the same spiritual accord,
Right. Right.
so that you can move in unison and really accomplish the things that you want to set out to accomplish there.
Mm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Hmm.
Keep your unit small
Yeah.
to not create any confusion.
Yes.
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 Yes, I get it. I get it. Okay. So so when you arrive on your mission trip, when you arrive on the ground, like in places like Haiti, what what needs are met first?
The first thing that we do, um, is, of course, get settled in. And then most of the missionary trips, like, especially if we're taking things, so you, like, you're always going to me, you're always going to take things, because I don't care if you have a suitcase full of money and you want to just go spread money all around the world. Like, to me, it's irresponsible when you got suitcases that you can pack with shoes and clothes and things to physically give out to people. So
Right.
you're always going to, carry stuff. To me, I'm always going to carry stuff. I'm going to take the maximum number of bags. I'm packing it all the way to the top, tippy top.
Right.
And then when we get there on the ground, then you want to like separate things out. So if say you're visiting 3 to 5 churches, what are you giving to this church? That you want to kind of organize yourself.
Right. Right.
And organize like the rest of the time that you're going to be there, and especially what you're distributing, where you're going. Yeah, kind of get the lay of the land.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it sounds organized.
Mhm.
It does. It sounds organized. And that's what you want.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, can you share a story of a child or family who deeply impacted you during your mission trips?
I would say one of the things that I always go back in my mind. So this was when I was doing a mission trip with the church.
Okay.
And we were in the Dominican Republic. And so my job was, when we set up, it was like a clinic. So when we set up, I was the person that was praying for everybody that from the area that came to the church or the clinic that we set up. As people were leaving, after they would see the doctor and go to the different stations, get clothes and food, then as they were leaving, I would be the person praying for them. So there was a kid that came and he was whispering because he didn't have I'm not a medical person, so the thing in the back of your throat, that he couldn't talk because that he was born deformed. He was missing something in the back of his throat. And so I remember I just prayed my heart out for this boy because he wanted to be able to speak. That was his prayer. He wanted to be able to speak. So when we got on the bus that evening, Sister Pat, Dr. Pat, started talking about the same little boy. So she was like, did you see the little boy that had, and so I said, oh my God, I prayed for him, And so she said, well, when we get back to the States, I'm going to call an organization called Project Smile and see if they're ever in the Dominican Republic, because we were in the DR, see if they could help the little boy out. And I was like, oh my gosh. So well,
that prayer was answered.
Well, let me tell you, it was answered because she got in touch with them. They were going to be in the DR. They operated on him, and he's able to speak.
Yes. Oh, thank you, Jesus.
Yes, that to me is a miracle. Like, to me, like, you could not tell me that was not a miracle.
You prayed for him. The lady got in touch with the Smile organization.
See how God uses. He needs every connection. You know what I mean? Like, he needed to see her. He needed the prayer.
Connecting the dots.
Yes.
With people.
Yes. He's connecting the dots. We just got to be in place and be obedient.
Wow. These are heartwarming stories that you're sharing with us.
Yep.
Okay. Well, if someone donates $25, $50, or $100 to your foundation, what does that provide for the children?
If somebody donated $25 and I send it to Haiti, that could provide rice for the month for a family. Like,
for the month? Oh, wow.
Okay.
Mm, that's nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So any to me, anything that people give, like as far as we're as far as us, um we want to, one of the reasons why I started the foundation, because and I wanted to go to the places. I don't want to send money. I don't want to just um order something. Somebody told me one time, oh, all you have to do is, pay for something in that country. It'll be cheaper to pay for something in that country and have them send it to the people that need it. But I did my own 501c3. I put together my the nonprofit organization I put together completely by myself. And so
Wow.
I did the organizing documents. And one of the things that is in my organizing documents is, yes, if I'm not saying that I would rule out doing something like that, but that's not our mission. Our mission is to go places, to give
Give.
to people.
Right.
Not It's not only about the money or the food or the clothes or the shoes. It's giving somebody a hug. It's telling somebody that you care
Mm,
about them. It's
that's
somebody
right.
knowing that
That's
they're not
right.
in this world lost. A child
Mm,
knowing that somebody thought enough of them to travel all the
all the
way
way
to
to.
where they are,
That's right. That's
to
right.
give them not just things, because things will come and go, but your heart, because that is what they'll remember.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I love that thing. I
Mhm.
love that. Got me
Yeah.
in tears. You look like you get ready to cry too, both of us.
I'm just
This is
thinking,
this
you
is
know
a
what I'm
heartwarming.
thinking about? I'm really thinking about being, I went to Haiti a couple of times. So I'm thinking about how sweet those children are,
Mm,
and
I
how
saw the
how
pictures.
people, you can't go, missionaries can't really go now, like it's so dangerous because they have a lot of, like, people have taken over, like, I don't know the name of the people. A lot of people have taken over the country, where it's so bad. The violence and stuff is so bad now that it's very, very difficult for missionaries to get in there. And I wonder just how they're making out, how, how they're doing, how
Yeah,
they're making it.
yeah,
And I know we as a country, we are so, like, with the news. We are so we're like a we're like fish. You know what I mean? Like, somebody is like drawing our attention to what's on the news. You know what I mean? And I'm
right.
saying this not to say that the people in Palestine, the children in Palestine, aren't suffering. I'm not saying that at all. But on this hemisphere, not all the way around the world, on this hemisphere, we have, in Haiti, it's the poorest children. Some of the poorest children in the world are in our hemisphere. A 2.5, 3 hour plane ride. You know what I mean? That we can get to, that we can help. That's
Right.
right here.
That's right here.
But sometimes our attention gets focused on what people want us to be focused on for their own agendas.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm. Okay. Well, I'm going to ask you about how you became a poet and an author of your own book, No Ordinary Day.
How did I become a poet? Ugh.
Because I've read in your book something about how your mother influenced you with poetry.
Yes. So my mom was an avid reader. I remember she had books all in her bedroom. Like, she could pick up a book. She would, if she started a book tonight, she's not stopping until it was completely done. So she was an avid reader. She loved the arts, like
Mm-hmm.
plays and just any of the arts she loved. And she loved poetry. And I remember when I was growing up, she had all kinds of black poets. Um,
Mm.
And so
And
she
it's a
would,
lot of good ones too.
yes, and believe me,
Mm.
she had me reading them. She would give me poetry books and be like, read this poem here and then tell me what you think. And I'm like 11, 12. I'm reading. I'm like, I don't even know what what is it talking about? I don't know. And
Mm.
nobody, you couldn't have told me that I would be writing poetry. You couldn't have told
Wow.
me that I would have wrote poetry. But
Yeah, I
she
have a
gave
few
me,
favorites of my own in there.
yes, yeah.
I do. I do. Yeah. Well, would you like, do you have a favorite?
Um,
Would you be willing to read
I
a
have,
favorite?
I have a, I have a
Well, I
number
know
of
it's your
favorites.
book. All of
Yeah,
them are your favorite,
yeah,
but
yeah.
is there anyone in particular?
Um, I have a few favorites, but out of here, yes, I do have a favorite. Which, well, first of all, tell me what your favorite is.
Um, I marked the page. This one is my favorite, Dear God, but I think Don't Give Up is my favorite too. But it was one in here that I really enjoyed because you was talking about, is this the one? Because it talked about something back in the day. And is that the one that's Don't Give Up? I thought oh, yeah, No Place Like Home.
Oh, No Place Like
Yeah,
Home.
because I really could relate to that one.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like that one.
yeah.
I think I like that overall. No
Okay,
Place Like Home,
okay.
because it was talking about home and back in the day. I and it took me back. It
Yeah,
took me back. It took me back to a time almost thinking about my mother.
yeah.
It it it, it was like a teenager back in the day type episode when I read that.
Mm.
That's what I got out of it.
Okay.
Yeah, I love that one.
Let me see.
Hmm.
I think out of here, probably the one that I like. Let me see if I can find it. Now I got to put my glasses on. See, this is what happens when you become 60 something.
I know, right?
All right. I know we're short on time, so let me just
Yeah,
see
yeah.
if I
We're
can
pressed for
find it.
time, so let's.
And it goes, you know, you used to be my favorite flavor. Your tasty sweetness I would savor. My midnight craving, my morning plight, my Sunday afternoon delight. You know, you used to be my favorite flavor. Your tasty sweetness I would savor. My candy coated sugar stick, my finger licking honey dip. You know, you used to be my favorite flavor. But the tasty sweetness I did savor has spoiled, curdled, turned to waste. Now all you are is aftertaste.
I like that one. I like that
I
one.
always think that's funny.
Yes, I like that one, Dana.
But there's
Mm-mm-mm.
other ones in there that are,
Yeah, yeah. That's a good book of
yeah.
poetry. And that came out in what, 2014, right?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. That was really good. Okay, well, I have a question for you. So, what's next on your agenda? We talked about it.
Yes. The next thing on my agenda is right now I'm in the process of putting together, well, I'm actually in school doing
That's
a
what I'm.
certification for life coaching. And
Yes.
so I am working on, actually working on my website, which should be up and running soon. And I am doing, right now, I'm currently doing free life coach sessions while
Wow.
until January. So if anybody wants a free session, just let me know. Hit me
Oh,
up.
wow. Wow. I might take you up on that one.
Please do.
Yeah.
Please do. Yep.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yep. That's what I'm
Okay.
working on.
Well, I I want you to give some sort of word of encouragement to women who are feeling tired, unseen, overwhelmed. What would you say to us women on Girlfriend Therapy Session with D?
I definitely would suggest, or my words of wisdom would be to be kind to yourself, because I think as women, and especially as African American women, we take so much on ourselves. There's so, like, it's just, we are incredible. We are
Yes, we are
incredible.
indeed.
And I feel like people aren't, if people don't treat us nice, we need to do things for ourselves. We need to carve out time just for us, to um, just to uplift ourselves, be it spiritually, mentally. Take yourself out on a date. If nobody's taking you out on a date, take yourself out on a date.
That's right.
Go out to dinner, get dressed up, go out to dinner, fine dine, even if you have to just do the appetizers and drinks.
Yes.
Treat yourself well, because if you don't treat yourself well, the Bible says, love your neighbor as you love yourself. So
That's
that
right.
means that you're loving yourself first before you love the neighbor. Because in order to love somebody the way you love yourself, you have to be loving yourself.
Yourself. That's right.
So it's easy to give, but it's very hard for people to receive, and it's hard for people to give to themselves. You know what I mean? But we
Mm-hmm.
have to give ourselves permission to be kind to ourselves, to love ourselves, to carve out time just for us, nobody else, just to make sure that we are taken care of. Yeah.
You know what? I think you laid out the definition of what my show is about.
All right.
That's right. That's right. I love it. I love it. Listen, if you could find in the kindness of your heart to give towards Dana's Eye Care Foundation, you don't have to give much. It's whatever you can spare. The information will be on the bottom of your screen. She has PayPal and the Dana Eye Care Cash App. Please give. Please give. We would so appreciate that. So this wraps up our girlfriend therapy session with Dee, and we appreciate you joining us today with my dear friend Dana.
My girlfriend.
Yes, yes,
I
yes. I
love
want
you
you.
so
I
much.
love you too, sweetie. And please, please come back
I
again.
will.
Come back
I
again.
will. I
Because we always
absolutely
have
will.
something to talk about
Yes.
on the couch.
Absolutely.
And if you enjoyed this session of girlfriend therapy session with Dee, we ask that you click like, comment, and subscribe. Until then, we ask that you stay blessed and have a wonderful day. Bye bye.